am your host Calago and I am your moderator. Today, we will have an exchanging of ideas in our topic about how should the students view themselves based on the four perspectives: the philosophical, sociological, psychological, and anthropological perspective of the self. But before I proceed, may I introduce to all of you our speakers. We have Miss Jessica Abrio, Miss Charlene Serna, and Miss Janna Mariz Abucay. For our rules, each speaker will be given the time of maximum of 2 minutes to share their ideas of the topic. While the speaker share the ideas, the other speaker should not interrupt. The audience also given the time to ask questions to the speakers. The three speakers are changing their ideas about the four perspectives of the self, or how the students view themselves based on these four perspectives. We have the speaker number 1, Miss Jessica Abrio.
So, this is my point of view about the how should students view themselves based on four perspectives. So, philosophical perspective of the self. My point of view about philosophical perspective of the self is just a person, a living, breathing, thinking human being. It is the way of constructing our own reality by creating a world that is familiar and predictable.
More about philosophical perspective of the self. Philosophical perspective of the self defines the essential qualities that make one person distinct from all others.
I would like to share my point of view about philosophical perspective. As a college student, first monitor themselves under a monitoring procedure. Gaining knowledge of an emerge as a self-directed, most college students are allowed to think for themselves. They learn how to use their sensory perception and their mind to make experience at the same time. Their self-esteem grows and that they experience capability.
So, psychological perspective of the self is about learning to better understand why you feel what you feel and why you behave in a particular way. As a student, psychological perspective of the self relates to my own view of myself. It helps me on how to handle myself and how to boost my confidence as well. And by understanding the self is one of the highest goals in psychology.
For me, psychological perspective of the self is the development of the self-understanding in adolescence involves theories about the self, identity, and personality. According to Carl Rogers' theory of self, an important aspect of understanding the self is self-awareness. Sociological perspective of the self. It is based on the assumption that human behavior is influenced by group life. This lesson draws on the principles and concepts of well-known sociologists to foster as students understanding of sociology and how sociology impacts us students in our everyday lives, and provide a pathway to self-understanding of who we are and what we are in contemporary society. Sociology, as a scientific study of social groups and human relationships, generates new insights into the interconnectedness between the self and other people. Sociologist Charles Horton Coley in 1902 introduces the looking glass self to highlight that the people whom a person interacts with become a mirror in which he or she views himself or herself.
So I would like to share my point of view about sociological perspective of the self. Each of the students have their own ways on how to be being socialized to others. I admit that the people around me helps me to develop and discover myself because I know myself is a working process. As a human being, we need to be socialized to others where we can build good relationships.
So, this is my point of view about anthropological perspective. For anthropology is relevant in our everyday life. As a student, it helps us gain a clearer perspective on ourselves. We have all learned and shared or at least understood beliefs, practices, and expression so that we can all understand each other, develop peace, and avoid misunderstanding. Different dialects are spoken at our school. Before we communicate, we must be aware of those in order not to offend their culture or speak unkindly. Anthropology can provide the answer to our questions about ourselves, our past, present, and future, help us connect people around the world. In a way, finding the similarities and differences between the two cultures benefit us. This will increase our understanding and we will be able to assimilate their culture, language, and way of life.
So I will add about anthropological perspective of the self. For me, anthropological perspective of the self based on how students view themselves. The student must be aware in everything because it is a model of our self-produced as a response to us offered by other people.
The perspective of anthropology allows one to understand a lot more about how humans work. It gives us a much wider view of human nature.
Thank you, speakers, for excellent changing ideas. Kindly allow me to expound more about philosophical perspective, the sociological, psychological, and anthropological perspective of the self. The philosophical perspective of the self, examining the all fields of knowledge, including religion, psychology, politics, physics, and even medicine. Philosophy uses the inquisitive mind to uncover the fundamental causes, reasons, and principles. Sociological perspective is a product of society. It is a way in how we're going to communicate and socialize the people around us. Psychological is the study of how the human behavior or how the human interacts. Anthropology is the study of human commonalities and diversities. It seeks answers to questions about the different ways of being human. Let's proceed to the audience. You have any clarifications or questions to the speakers?
May I ask the speaker number 3, can you expound more about psychological perspective of the self?
The psychological perspective of the self, it is the study of the human behavior or how the human interact.
So may I ask speaker number 1, what is your point of view about understanding the self?
So, my point of view about understanding the self is having insights into one's own behavior, attitudes, strengths, and weaknesses. It is the individual's ability to say and know what he or she is good at or needs improvement. Self-understanding is one of the highest goals in psychology.
May I ask a question? How do sociological perspective apply in everyday life?
For me, sociological perspective apply to our everyday life by being socializing to others, by building good relationship, and invites us to look at our familiar surroundings in a fresh way.
I have a question. What is example of anthropology?
Anthropology is the study of humans, early hominids and primates, such as chimpanzees. Anthropology is study human language, culture, societies, biological and material remains, the biology and behavior of primates, and even our own buying habits.
And what are the 4 parts of the anthropological perspective?
The key anthropological perspectives are holism, relativism, comparison, and fieldwork. There are also both scientific and humanistic tendencies within the discipline that at times conflict with one another.
This is the end of our panel discussion. Thank you and God bless.